Hey everyone, welcome to the Week 30 Connects You launch. The theme for this week is going to be embracing failure. So the fear of failure is something that does set in typically around this point of the year, and that can be a very crippling feeling. And students begin to avoid challenging work. They reduce their motivation towards even wanting to achieve. And I know that's not with everybody right now, but some of you are pretty far behind in your courses, and I think sometimes it's just a natural reaction as a human being to just kind of bury it down deep and pretend it doesn't exist because we're so afraid of failing that we'd rather not even try sometimes. So the purpose of this week is going to be just to kind of embrace failure and realize that it doesn't mean that you've failed completely. We're just not there yet. So to embrace failure, I think first we have to look at the definition of failure. And a lot of times it has such a negative connotation. We don't even want to hear the word failure presented. Because we see the definition of failure is a lack of success. The synonyms, non-fulfillment, defeat, collapse. So those are not really good words. So I think it's important that we just try to change the definition internally and don't think of it as a lack of success, but just that you're not successful yet. So failure is the precursor to all success and a necessary component of learning. It's extremely rare to do something on the very first try and have it be successful. There's typically a lot of trial and error and a lot of failure that goes into successes. So it's important that we embrace our failures, maybe not to the extent of this guy, but it's not a bad thing to fail. At least you've tried. So people that say they've never failed have never tried anything. So let's just start embracing our failure. Realize that just means we're one step closer to success, and get some feedback from your instructors and see how we can do better. It's important to realize that success is messy. If you feel that success is the image on the left, just a straight arrow from the bottom to the top, that's not what it looks like. What it really looks like is that image on the right. It's a jumbled mess in the middle of all of your trial and error, and it can be a long process. It's really messy, and it's more realistic to understand that that's what success is likely going to look like. I also liked this image. On Instagram, I follow Ryan Shazier, who is a Steeler football player that actually had a pretty bad spinal cord injury last year. And so he posted this: everyone wants their life and goals to go smoothly, but there's always obstacles that's going to present themselves. We just have to keep pushing. The end goal tends to be even better than we ever expected. So the same thing, your plan is you think it's just going to be the straight shot to the finish line, when in reality, you have 10 different obstacles that come up that you didn't even think about. So the only way to succeed with your schoolwork, physical activity, and life in general is through grit, persistence, and embracing and learning from failure. So real quick, I just want to watch a very short video on some famous failures so you can see that you are not alone if you have ever failed at anything.
After being cut from his high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. He wasn't able to speak until he was almost 4 years old, and his teachers said he would never amount to much. Was demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't fit for television. Fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and having no original ideas. At age 11, he was cut from his team after being diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, which made him smaller in stature than most kids his age. At 30 years old, he was left devastated and depressed after being unceremoniously removed from the company he started. A high school dropout whose personal struggles with drugs and poverty culminated in an unsuccessful suicide attempt. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and that he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Rejected by Decca Recording Studios, who said, "We don't like their sound. They have no future in show business." His first book was rejected by 27 publishers. His fiancée died, failed in business, had a nervous breakdown, and was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never tried anything new.
Okay, so again, if you don't try, you can't fail, but you also can't succeed. So these were some pretty famous failures, and you can see with some effort and grit and determination, these people became some of the most successful people that we've ever known. I do want to point out that today is the end of the 3rd marking period. If you have been with us since towards the beginning of the year, you are expected to have your year-long courses. So those would be your core classes of your sciences, your math, English, histories. Those should all be approximately 75% complete. And your semester-long courses, so your phys ed, your health, your electives, those should be roughly 50% complete, okay? And if you look similar to the person down here, so there are a lot of you who do have some pretty bad progress. Tom Hanks is appalled. And also some low scores. So what we really need to do is just remember, we still have a quarter of the year left, and there's a lot of time. I know that 9 weeks sounds like it's not that long, but if you work every day, put in a couple hours every day, and get the help you need. So this person, if you're in this boat where your grades are also below a passing score of a 70, make sure you're reaching out to your instructors and asking for some additional help, additional resources. Come to the learning labs at CPDLF on Mondays and Thursdays from 1 to 3. Take advantage of the opportunities that there are. And remember that you can always go back and redo an old assignment. If you have any projects that you've submitted blank, make sure you go back and ask to do those again. Again, those are 40% of your grade. So if you've been submitting blanks, you just simply can't pass the course. So make sure you remain positive, and just remember that you've had some failures along the way this year, but we can still end and be successful. And one last reminder that it is Family Engagement Night on Tuesday, March 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the CPDLF office.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family.
All right, so come get weird with us. We have a good time. If you haven't been here before, please, I encourage you to come. We do have a good time, and the themes are pretty cool every time. We'll try to get one of your classmates to come with you. It's a nice time to actually socialize, because I know most of us were behind these computer screens all day, and it's really, really a nice opportunity to put a face to a name and to really build a relationship and connect. So I do encourage you guys to come. Even if you are open campus and you're watching this, open campus learners are welcomed. And we encourage you to come as well. So it would be nice to see everybody. Your reflection for this week is to read this following quote: "Failure is a necessary part of learning." And I just want to know, do you agree or disagree with that statement, and why? So you can do that in the Google Classroom, and I will see you guys next week.